weak to Lycanroc.
That is true. And here we go. Looks like Ryan is starting for us.
He has a Zorua, and looks like he's going for a
There is Pokemon communication.
mutation. That is an art I have not seen,
That
actually.
is my favorite art for communications from Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and I love that people are actually kind of playing this card again. It has such great synergy with a card like Execute. You always have a Pokemon when it's in your discard, and so it's just a free search card.
Yes.
And being able to put back like a stage one that you don't need right now, go and get the basic that you do.
Mhm.
It's really good, and it looks like we do see the Bridget as well.
Does so we did Wonder Tag with the Lele, I think, but I do not see the Bridget in the discard.
It's under the
Is it
communication.
under the
Yeah.
communication? Okay. So we do see two Rockruff and a Zorua, which is pretty standard for turn one.
And there is the cutest Trubbish I think I have ever seen.
Oh, it's so happy!
Garbage collection, put a card from your discard on top of your deck. It's really just a one of in this deck because Tool Drop is still so prevalent as an attack. And we see no energy cards drop from Ryan, but again, Jimmy kind of plays a little disruption here and there.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like we're going to be seeing an Ultra Ball, yes. He gets rid of a VS Seeker and another Ultra Ball.
Yeah, unfortunately, two cards that you really kind of want to keep, especially going forward in the game. But turn one Ultra Ball is always very good, and we might just see another Tapu Lele and Bridget from Jimmy as well.
It's especially sad to see that VS Seeker go because he doesn't play Puzzle of Time like a lot of other decks we've been seeing today. So he doesn't have a way to really get through.
Yeah, Puzzle of Time has been a card that I have fallen in love with ever since it came out, and especially in Expanded, I think if you're not playing Puzzle of Time in your deck, it really hinders a lot of what you can do. Being able to kind of go a little like not conservative, like want to get out of the gates fast, you might discard some
Yes.
stuff that you need later on. Puzzle allows you to kind of recover, especially with maybe like a misplay here or there.
You can make those risky plays,
Yeah.
yes.
But Jimmy not really having a good way, a good draw engine like Zorark to dig for these puzzles, it makes it a little bit harder.
So we do see the energy attachment and the pass to Ryan. He gets the Sky Field out, which is going to allow his bench up to 8 Pokemon, which he has almost filled already, dropping an Oricorio and a Shaman for setup.
Yeah, this is very dangerous just because Jimmy has that Drampa GX on the bench with an energy, and with Lycanroc, the Bloodthirsty Eyes can just bring it up, and with enough Pokemon in play, Zora can take a one-hit knockout.
Exactly. We do see an Ultra Ball go down.
Yeah, he discarded a fighting, but he most for surely wants more Zorark being able to trade and dig through your deck while getting rid of resources you don't need, especially in this matchup. But remember, you always have to be careful about how many items you're playing against Garbodor.
Right? Because that Trashalanche is always there, and it could do devastating damage.
Exactly. There is another Shaman setup. It looks like he got a double Colorless Energy and another
Another
Zorark.
Zorua. We do see him trade away the Alolan Muck.
Right, so right now there is 8 Pokemon in play for Ryan. That means 160 damage. He does need another Pokemon and the Lycanroc to try to take a knockout on a big GX Pokemon. There is the Lycanroc Bloodthirsty Eyes.
Dragging that poor Drampa into the active position.
And
There's
is
the
the Choice Band.
Band.
So he will be able to take a turn 2 knockout on a Drampa GX, and that is where Jimmy committed his energy last turn as well.
It is. He loses the energy. He goes down 2 prizes.
And looking through his discard, I think I only saw about 2 or 3 items.
Mhm.
So he did all of this with not really like hindering against his matchup that much. So Trashlanche is going to be a moot point, especially with Zorark GX's resistance.
We do see the Float Stone go down on the ever so happy Trubbish. Maybe we might be seeing a Garbotoxin fairly soon.
Yeah, Garbotoxin is something that really benefits Jimmy in this matchup just because Ryan has so many moving parts with his abilities, trade, and Bloodthirsty Eyes, along with multiple Shaman as we see him already play.
Gets the Sycamore out after dropping a Trashalanche down onto the field. We
Right
do
there.
see the field blower that
Right.
knocks Ryan's bench back down to 5.
There we go. It's kind of a little bit helpful for Ryan too. He gets a few of the Shaman EX
Mhm.
away. Kind of liability because even though Zorik has this giant HP and the resistance to Psychic, Shaman can get pretty susceptible to Trash Lance later on in the game.
Right, and we do see Garbotox and Garbodor come down into the field, turning off all abilities. No more trades, no more bloodthirsty eyes. Ryan's going to have a tough time here.
Exactly, and I do like that he is playing the Breakpoint Garbodor instead of the Legendary Treasures one. I just like the art better.
It is fantastic. We do see another Skyfield come down, which will at least allow Ryan to bring that bench back up to 8, get those KOs on those big
Yeah,
GXs.
and we see a Bridget come down from Ryan. It's actually not really what it seems. You're like, well, he already has most of his Pokemon, but really, this Bridget is plus 60 damage.
Exactly.
It is a giant Professor Kukui, and he will take another knockout on this Tapu Lele.
We do see an interesting card in his deck that I remember a few years back, Bunnelby, with its time to shine at US Nationals.
Yeah, definitely. Bunnelby has been a tech card in most decks just to try to combat that Wailord matchup. It gives you a matchup where you usually just lose completely to, well, now you're almost guaranteed to win.
Right. We do see Jimmy get the DCE and another Drampa out, as well as another Trashalanche Garbodor.
Yeah, he's definitely on the back foot here, though, because he already used that field blower. He doesn't really have much more outs to get rid of this Sky Field. And even though he can get rid of the double colorless in play, Ryan still might be able to make something happen to just take his last 2 knockouts. But
Right.
the end of 2 here, without having the access to trade, will come in handy for him.
Exactly. It could be detrimental. Going down to 2 cards while your opponent has 6 is never a fun time.
Yeah, and talking with Jimmy, Igor, and all them who played this deck, I was just figuring out their choices and why they went to Drampa Garb, all that stuff. Well, they're like, well, we never really use Berserk. I
Right.
can't really turn it on. It is there just for Righteous Edge.
Now we do see the Colress on Ryan's
Oh,
side.
that's
Nothing.
always heartbreaking to see. And your opponent to 2, and they get a Colress, but not just a Colress for
Or
a
game.
ton of cards. 13 cards to be exact, and of course he found the double colorless, and Ryan Grant takes game 1.
You know, when you do draw 12 cards off a Colress,
13.
you're 13. Either way, a large number of cards, you are bound to find at least one DCE.
Yeah, who needs trade when you just got colorless?
Exactly.
So game 1 goes to Ryan Grant, and remember, he is the one at 30 match points, so he still needs a little bit of help next round. Try to make it in top 8 from our calculations,
Mhm.
while Jimmy is just needing a win.
Is but a loss for either one, and it might not happen for either of them.
Exactly.
This is an important game. So going into game 2, what does Jimmy need to do?
So it was really hard because Ryan just took prize after prize after prize. I think it was turn 4, the game was over.
Pretty much, yes.
Now, Jimmy is going to have the advantage because he will be able to get that Garbotoxin active turn 2 if he has the ability.
Mhm.
And that's what we saw here. Bloodthirsty Eyes really just put him so far back. Taking away that Drampa and the energy, he really had to just restart his turn on turn 2.
Right.
So being able to get ahead of Ryan and shut off those abilities is his number 1 game plan.
Mhm. But with him going first this turn, this game, we should be able to see that hopefully with him.
All
Let's
right,
see
players
what.
all drawing their hands. It's like a Tapu Lele start from Jimmy.
Ooh. Not the most ideal, but bulky GX. So it's not terrible. Do see that from Jimmy. He draws his card. Ooh, a double Lele start.
Right. Action is on Jimmy. He really needs to get at least a Trubbish down. There's an Ultra Ball. That means access to another Tapu Lele and Bridget if he chooses.
But he is sacrificing that dowsing machine for this.
Yeah, it's interesting because without the access to Puzzle of Time in his deck, Dowsing is definitely your preferred choice of ace
Right.
spec, just because it is the one thing that you can. Okay, well, I discarded this Field Blower early on, but now I need it to get rid of the Sky Field.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that, but discarding at turn 1, we'll see if it comes to play and if this game actually goes long. Because remember, 4 turns last game. That was it.
That was it. But in all games of Pokemon, you never know what's going to happen. So we see him searching through his deck, looking for what he wants. Presumably a Tapu Lele, as we see hitting the field right now. He's going to Wonder Tag, or what I can only assume is a Bridget.
Yeah.
Fill that bench.
With the format shaping out the way it has, Tapu Lele Wonder Tag for Bridget has been the ultimate consistency combo, essentially. Where, alright, well, I'm playing a bunch of these stage 1s.
Instead of the Bridget, he has gone for the Sycamore.
Okay, yeah. So it's also signaling, like, remember, he's not playing Zoroark, so he can't Bridget for a couple Zora, have a Zoroark in hand, and start trading.
Right.
If he's looking at his hand and it's like, well, all I have is this Tapu Lele. If I want to get something else, then I won't have a draw supporter for next turn. So he's choosing, all right, Sycamore, but this is where he needs to draw the Trubbish. He does. Trubbish goes on the bench. That means next turn he can Garbotoxin if he chooses to, and that's what he's looking for with this game.
It's also important to note we do see the Parallel City come down. That will limit Ryan's bench.
Yeah, for sure. We usually see Sudowoodo as the tech card against these Zoroark decks, but they play Alolan Muck to try to get rid of it, Hex Maniac, and a bunch of executes. With Parallel City, it's a little bit awkward because you know they play a high number of Skyfield, and you try to play it like later on in the game. When they Skyfield, you play Parallel City, get rid of a bunch of Pokemon. But he had to play it early just because he's Sycamore, so it will not be as good, but it's still gonna try to like. He won't be able to Ultra Ball, Lele, Bridget, get 3 Pokemon. He's gonna try to sacrifice that a little bit.
Right, so he's gonna be slowed down just a tiny bit here, but we do see him get a Rockruff and 2 Zorua. Looks like he had the natural Bridget.
Well, he had the computer search.
Okay, the computer search.
Who needs to Ultra Ball for Lele when you could just computer search for the Bridget straight up?
Exactly. We do see a energy attachment to the Rockruff on the bench.
Yeah, one thing I haven't really been seeing this weekend is the use of these powerful GX attacks. Very rarely we've seen a GX attack in a game to like take the game, but Lycanroc is one of those where Dangerous Rogue GX, it is amazing. 50 times the number of bench Pokemon your opponent has.
Massive damage. Could kill a Wailord.
Exactly. And here I think we're seeing another Ultra Ball from Jimmy. And there is Tapu Lele and a Guzma. So Guzma could be targeting down that Rockruff because remember, he has the Floatstone on the active. So it's just a simple retreat and then Guzma up the Rockruff and you could take a knockout thanks to the double colorless.
Getting rid of these Rockruffs early before they evolve into Lycanroc is a smart play.
And there's the Floatstone and the Garbotoxin coming down. This is such a great turn from Jimmy here. Taking the knockout on the Rockruff. Down to 5 prizes, Garbotoxin active, and he's sitting pretty.
We do see Ryan rescue Stretcher that Rockruff back, but with these abilities shut off, we aren't going to see Bloodthirsty Eyes, we're not going to see trades. These Pokemon are just going to be here to attack.
And this is a pretty wimpy Colress compared to last game. Only 6 cards. Remember, thanks to Parallel City, his bench is full right now.
Colress giveth and Colress taketh away. You just can't always have the 16 card draw.
You can't always get what you want.
But you can get what you need.
And it looks like he might just pass to Jimmy.
Ooh.
Depends what he drew from his 6 cards.
Ideally, we want to see possibly a Skyfield here. Anything.
Yeah, he did pass to Jimmy.
Yes.
Right. So there's the Rainbow Energy on the Tapu Lele. And that means it's a knockout on a Zorua.
Do you see him Sycamore first? Looks like he drew, at least, yes, he did draw Trubbish.
The way this game has been going from last game shows how important it is to go first in this matchup. Being able to get that Garbotoxin active before any Zoroark or Lightning Rock come down, it really just gives you such a great advantage. And you actually see Ryan bench a Shaman, but you can't use setup. Garbotox is active. He's just doing it so he can draw an extra card with Colress again.
Exactly, and he has the Skyfield out, so he's hopefully trying to set up a Zoroark here to attack.
And there is the 10 damage on the Tapu Lele, meaning 160 HP left. It kind of makes it so he doesn't need one Pokemon extra for the Zoroark with Riotous Beating. There is double puzzle time from Ryan.
Getting the computer search, as well as a rescue stretcher.
So looking from his hand, it seems like he does have enough resources to get out a Zoroark and take the knockout on the Tapu Lele. It'll be interesting to see if he gets enough Pokemon. Remember, he needs 8 in play. Right now, he has 5.
But he does have the DCE in hand. I see there. And it looks like...
maybe an Oricorio or like a Alolan Grimer?
Mm-hmm. So he goes for the rescue stretcher. From what I can see in his hand, he doesn't seem to have...
so computer search has to get Zoroark here.
Yes. Alright, he's getting rid of the Getsus.
He needs it. That's his attacker. And I don't know, I'm trying to count, and I only do see maybe that one Pokemon and then the rescue stretcher, but the rescue stretcher would only bring it to your hand. And only one Pokemon, so he's still one Pokemon short.
So he ends up discarding the Getsus and the VS Seeker.
Yeah, and it's also important to keep an item count. Let's see, he's going through. Alright, there's quite a few items. I think I counted 6, maybe 5.
Approximately around there.
Guess what? That's enough to knock out a Shaman.
That is, we do see him grab the Zoroark, the DCE. You do have an Oricorio in hand, and another Rockruff.
Alright, so that means there will be 8 Pokemon in play. Riotous Beating will be able to take a knockout on this Tapu Lele, all thanks to the Rainbow Energy.
And here we go.
Jimmy just checking to make sure. Alright. Tapu Lele goes down. Ryan now has tied it up 4-4 prizes apiece.
Jimmy Pendarvis promoting that. Garbodor.
And wow, here is the second parallel city from Jimmy. Oh, this is heartbreaking.
That was a clutch play. Having to figure out what to get rid of. You just got rid of 5 Pokemon.
And here is the teammates as well. Teammates, such a powerful card, especially in decks where you really kind of need more than just the one card.
Right.
And I think you might be seeing a Drampa GX come down, trying to strip away that double colorless energy.
And we do, with the basic Psychic attached. We'll see the Garbodor retreat into the Drampa. Hitting that Zoroark.
You're not doing a lot of damage, but if you just get rid of your opponent's double colorless, you're fine.
That damage is... it weakens it a bit, but honestly, you want to get rid of those double colorless.
Yeah, so if you look through and been counting the resources Ryan's been playing this game, he's already used 2 double puzzle a time.
Right.
He's gone through a double colorless. He's gone through a basic fighting. He's really kind of used half of the stuff that he can for this matchup, and he has to just pass. He has no supporter in hand. Now Jimmy, this is where he's gonna turn the tides. He gets that Colress. He gets a few more bench Pokemon. He's gonna be drawing 8 cards, and maybe even starting to berserk. Even though it's only gonna be for 80, he's gonna start putting some more pressure.
Right, and we do see the Trashalanche Garbodor come out. Another attack option. We have a third Trubbish on the field as well.
And I think I saw that Choice Band, a card that really will help him try to put more pressure on this Zoroark. Now Berserk is doing 110 damage.
And sadly, that Zoroark is just gonna sit there. It has no energy on it.
Yeah, and there we go. Action back to Ryan. Did he draw a way out of this Garbotoxin lock?
It's important to note he only runs 6 energy. That is such a low count.
And that's why a deck like Jimmy's is so well positioned in this metagame right now. Righteous Edge on Drampa GX just really kind of controls the pace of play your opponent has access to.
Right.
And he's really in a great position here. Another Trash Lance Garbodor coming in play.
Just another attacker right there. We have a Lele with a double colorless on it as a backup attacker already.
If he has maybe... No, he's already taken the knockout. I was about to say if he has the rainbow, he could do even more damage, but that just might be overkill. And there is the Berserk taking another knockout. Jimmy is down to 2 prizes remaining, and Ryan draws. It's a double colorless, but
a bit too late. Let's see, he does attach...
Paralyzing Gaze. This is why this card is worth $20. And it's a Tails.
And now it's dropped to 10.
Now it's dropped to 10. And there's nothing Ryan can do this game. Jimmy is so far ahead.
You see a choice band going to the Lele as well as the Trash Lance Garbodor. Jimmy's just buffing his bench more and more.
And now, if I'm Ryan, I kind of want to think about, well, this game's not looking good. How much time do I have for game 3?
Right.
Granted, game 2, when he got set up, he got set up.
He did.
And it was pretty fast, and he does get to go first, so he will be able to get a little bit under this Garbotoxin lock.
So we are moving on to game 3 now.
Yeah, the way Jimmy and their whole team at TCG Castle have built this deck, it just puts on a clinic against Zoroark.
Does.
2 Parallel City, the Righteous Edge from Drampa GX, and just punishing your opponent for playing super aggressive. It's been phenomenal to watch, and they're probably one of my favorite decks to win the tournament.
I would have to agree. It's interesting to see because when Zoroark first came out, Garbodor took a massive hit in the meta where no one wanted to play it.
Yeah, I think when the set for Garbodor came out and Seattle Regionals, I think it was, the first one it was legal, it took like 26 of the top 32 spots.
Right.
And now to see it, Memphis never really played.
It was nowhere.
There was a Garbodor deck with Azul in finals, but it didn't even play Trash Lance.
Right.
And now to see it just make a huge comeback, even in San Jose, the past expanded regionals, it was nowhere to be found. And it won the expanded regionals before that in Daytona.
And just to see this miraculous comeback where it's possibly going into top 8.
Yeah, it's exciting to see, and it has so many different avenues to attack your opponent. You have the Righteous Edge from Drampa, you have Trash Lance, you have even just Energy Drive, and you also have the Tool Drop as well from Trubbish. And it's really just, you have so many options with this
Exactly.
deck.
The versatility of this deck is unreal, as you said. We do see Jimmy end up starting with a Drampa and a Trubbish on his field with a lone Zorua for Ryan. We do see the Pokemon communication come back, though.
I just love this card, and I'm so happy people playing Expanded. I know I've said it before, but I can't say it enough. It goes well with so much of the stuff out here, and you don't have to discard your resources to get this Tapu Lele. You just, okay, I'll put back a stage 1 I can evolve into later.
Right, and it's interesting to see since in Heart Gold Soul Silver, that was a staple card. You played 4 for the most part.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then you haven't seen it until right now.
We've had so many
different formats.
Synergies with discarding cards that Ultra Ball has just always been better.
Right.
But now when you could go, I'm going to play 4 Ultra Ball, but I'll play 2 Communication. Just makes your deck even more consistent.
It lets you get that Lele out for the Wonder Tag, as we see here, where you just fill your bench, 2 Zorua and a Rockruff.
Yeah, and we see Ryan not attaching energy, even if he did have it, chooses not to because Righteous Edge is such a scary attack.
Right.
And there is the N from Jimmy after attaching a double colorless and a choice band. And he does have that Trubbish on the bench, but he's going to look for a couple more because remember, since Ryan went first, he will be the first to evolve. That means Bloodthirsty Eyes is a very real possibility. And without a second Trubbish, he can be put into a weird position where he won't be able to get out Garbotoxin for a little bit.
Right.
Let's see what Jimmy drew from this N. He's really thinking
He's
deep in
thinking
the tank.
maybe.
I don't know if he got anything else.
I don't. It's not looking good. I don't think. Oh,
Tapu Lele, but that's not what you want to see. You already used your supporter for the turn. This might be just the lone Trubbish for this turn. Oh, no, he does have the Ultra Ball.
He was just playing us.
making us sweat a little bit here in the commentary booth.
Whew. So going into his deck, probably looking for another Trubbish.
I think he has to.
He has to. And he did. So we now have 2 Trubbish on the bench. He does go back for that Tapu Lele, getting a supporter for the next turn.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, he will only be able to do 20 to the Zorua choice band, only affecting EX or GX Pokemon. He will have a Colress for next turn, and it kind of punishes Ryan a little bit, where if he chooses to go for the big Skyfield play to knock out this Drampa, then, well, okay, you'll knock out this Drampa, but I'm going to draw a bunch of cards.
Exactly.
There is the Getsis, and it hits nothing. Colress, Sycamore, and a double colorless in Jimmy's hand.
But that's good knowledge for Ryan to have. There's a double colorless in hand.
Yeah, but Ryan might have needed something. If he doesn't have a Zoroark or anything like that, he might be forced to just pass.
And it looks like he's attaching his double colorless to that Rockruff.
This is bad.
This is not good, for sure. We do see, going back to Jimmy Pendarvis, that the Garbodor with Garbotoxin comes down. That DCE goes to that Lele. We get the Colress.
Yeah, so he chooses to Colress here instead of the Sycamore. Doesn't want to get rid of the Colress and the Sycamore. This way he just saves the Sycamore for later.
Right.
And I do like that these double colorless on the Tapu Lele. To be fair, he could have attached it to the Drampa and taken a knockout on the Zora, but then you're susceptible to a Lycanroc coming out of nowhere.
Right. This just gives more pressure onto Ryan, I think, as it's another attacker that's ready. And if that Drampa would to be knocked out, you still have that energy somewhere.
And this is the question for Jimmy. Did he draw a Floatstone or a Choice Band to activate that Garbotoxin?
Do you see a Trashalanche Garbodor come out? He does also have a basic energy in hand, but he has attached for this turn already, and we see the Happy Trubbish come down as well.
Dude, but the way Jimmy is playing his hand, it does not look like he has a tool. I kind of would think you'd slap that down right away.
Right, but orders of operation, he could be saving it for later.
Oh, and you were right, yeah. Floatstone coming down, activating that Garbotoxin versus Seeker for the Colress for next turn. And to be fair, he does not get the knockout, but who cares? Shutting off abilities, you're fully set up right now.
Right. Your Lycanrocs and your Zoroarks are just attackers. Your draw engine is gone. And your Guzma engine.
Yeah, and your opponent just has to pass again. This is looking beautiful for Jimmy Pendarvis right now. Colress for 8 brand new cards. And Ryan is really put on the back foot here. He has nothing in his hand, and he's relying on the top of his deck without the use of his abilities.
He hasn't evolved yet. He just has a lot of basics on his bench, sadly. We do see the Parallel City come in, limiting Ryan down to 3.
Man, Jimmy is just like hit after hit in this boxing match.
Ooh, we do see the basic Psychic come down onto Trashalanche Garbodor. activating another attacker for him.
And there's the Righteous
Right.
Edge for the knockout. He did have to 3-hit that Zorua, but it doesn't matter when your board is this good. There's a
Exactly.
Versus Seeker for a Getsus. It does hit 3 this time, so maybe Ryan can try to draw something. But no, I think I saw
There's a Skyfield, so he can bring his bench back up.
Skyfield, Ultra Ball, and a Versus Seeker, which means he can Getsus again next turn. That's it.
That's it.
He might be able to bridge it. That's it. Still no evolution in sight in his hand.
No. Yeah. And no way to turn off that Garbatoxin.
Again, ability lock is so big in this format right now. And going into this tournament, a lot of people cut field blowers from their decks just because, like, well, I'm not going to see Garbodor a lot.
We haven't
Like,
seen it in a couple months. Why would we need it now?
exactly. And looking, he does play one, but it's kind of hard to find it when you don't have access to trade to try to draw through your deck.
Right. We do see him bring out the Zoroark, though.
Yeah, but with his hand and his field the way it is, Zoroark dealing only 60 damage, maybe more depending on what he chooses to play. I think I see a choice band as well. But against Righteous Edge, it's not what you want to be doing.
Right. See Ryan play a Rescue Stretcher. It brings back one of the Zoroas. He's trying to get his bench as bulky as possible right now.
And I think he might be holding onto that Skyfield for a turn where he has more Pokemon in play. But he does do the 110 damage thanks to Choice Band. And
But
there we
there's
see an
Acerola. He drops it right back down, retreats in.
This is the worst possible scenario for Ryan right now. Essentially
Righteous
negating his
Edge.
last turn completely.
And we get rid of that DCE thanks to Righteous Edge. With a Zoroark just stuck in the active now.
Again, we see the desperation play of benching a Shaman EX just so he can draw an extra card with Colress, needing to find double colorless, and still even then, if Jimmy has access to another Versus Seeker or anything like that, he can just Acerola again and make it to where he still hasn't done anything for his turn.
Right.
This ability lock has put so much pressure on Ryan. It is insane.
Does draw the next DCE that he needed, should he want to attack.
I think I might see the Field Blower as well. It could be a good opening for him to Bloodthirsty Eyes and get some trades going. And there it is,
there
Field
it
Blower,
is.
the Choice Band, and the Float Zone abilities are now back online.
We have 2 trades that we can do. We also have stand-in from the other Zoroark.
And I think I see an Ultra Ball in Ryan's hand that could get him a Lycanroc if he chooses to, but
He was tempted by the end there.
yeah, to trade it away.
Right.
And remember, with the Choice Band on the active Zoroark GX, that means he only needs, I believe, 8 Pokemon in play to knock out the Drampa. There's the second trade, something that Ryan has been missing all game.
Double puzzle here. What do you think he's getting out of this double puzzle?
I mean, well, he needs Pokemon.
Yes.
So,
But which Pokemon?
I don't think it really matters at this point. Either way, could get a Tapu Lele to set up a supporter for next turn if he needs it. But he also could be looking for some double colorless with the one in the discard, the one stuck on the Rockruff on the bench, and the one that's active where it might be taken away next turn. You really need to figure out your resource management.
Looks like he is going for the Pokemon Communication and the Tapu Lele.
All right, and communication, putting Tapu Lele back in the deck.
I wonder if he's going for a Shaman to dig deeper into his deck.
Yeah, essentially, Shaman with its setup ability, draw until you have 6. It's more cards always better. Right?
Not arguing there. More is always better.
Just like new is always better.
It's true.
All right, but with these new cards in his hand, does he have access to the knockout? Remember, 6 Pokemon in play, 8 Pokemon in play is what he needs.
Does get the computer search, which allows him to get 2 cards, potentially 2 Pokemon here.
Well, he only gets 1 card off the computer search.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so computer search, if he doesn't have the correct number of Pokemon, we might see a Bloodthirsty Eyes to try to take out someone. But there, he drew a puzzle, so double puzzle again.
For the Grimer and the Field Blower.
I like this play a lot because he knows, yeah, my opponent plays a ton of tools.
Right.
And he's going to get Garbotoxin online next turn as well. And I've had a pretty good turn this turn. So I want to keep this going.
It's as if he wants to continue using his abilities.
I mean, why would you want that? That's just...
But we do see him contemplate attacking here.
I think he miscalculated the damage.
Ooh,
he is 1 Pokemon short. Oh, that is heartbreaking. That means this double colorless is
gone.
Going away. Oh. I think they're trying to see if it's rewindable. There we go. Yes. Damage comes down on the Drampa GX, but it is not enough.
Oh, that is too bad.
Only 170 damage. Drampa with its 180 HP.
We see the Acerola in hand.
This is heartbreaking right now.
This is awful for Ryan.
But does he play it? Like, I think... Oh, there is no float zone in place, so he might have to sacrifice the double colors on the Lele to try to retreat to it again.
Oh, but, there's the float.
Jimmy has been having everything he needs. Remember, Garbotoxin is online again, and Jimmy's still contemplating the Acerola.
But he goes with the N. That's an interesting play.
Maybe because he saw Ryan had a bunch of cards in hand. Had that
Field blower, yes.
So he's like, well, I can Acerola do this, only do 20 damage. Of course, get rid of your double colorless, but then you could just probably do the same turn again, trade, then maybe Lycanroc as well. Just better to N you and kind of force you to draw the double colorless without having access to trade.
Because then there is only 1 DCE left, and it could possibly be prized for all we know.
Yeah, and we see the 6 or 5 cards that Jimmy drew. He drew the Parallel City here. That is another big card. Such a killer card in this matchup. Getting rid of most of Ryan's bench. And we see the retreat. With all the cards Ryan's played. I wonder how many items he has this card. I'm sure it's enough to take the knockout here. Remember, Zoroark does have resistance. Yeah, there's
the knockout.
Items. He played 4 Puzzle of Time in 1 turn last year, so.
We do see stand-in Zoroark come in.
Yeah, stand-in Zoroark, a card that is very good in a matchup like this just because it's a 1 prize attacker and can take big knockouts.
It helps with the prize trade, yeah.
And there we see a chorus from Ryan himself, drawing 7 cards.
And an egg on the bench.
It's not really where you want to be, but you need those cards. Again, he's looking for that double colorless energy. I think he got the Field Blower. He might be able to spin the wheel again. And looking at Ryan's deck, it's running pretty low as well.
There's the Field Blower, yep. Abilities are back on. We can see a trade.
His bench space is back on.
That too. More importantly, he needs to start digging again.
There is a Tapu Lele Wonder Tag searching for a supporter. But remember, he already played it, so he's just preparing for next turn. He's like, you're probably going to get another knockout. This N will help me by putting you low. The real question is, does he have the double colorless to take the knockout here? Trade.
Trades the Alolan Muck away. Did he draw it?
I think I saw the computer search. But
No,
no.
he passed.
Oh, that is terrible for him.
I wonder
No
if it's
double colorless.
prized.
So Jimmy, oh my gosh, he is such in a commanding position right now. Garbotoxin is not active, but if he gets another tool, that spells most for surely the end for Ryan right now.
Does.
And Trash Lanch doing so much damage, it's looking very good for Jimmy Pendarvis.
Currently just searching through, checking his discard. Going for the possibility of a rescue stretcher here. Debates against it, has to go check his discard again.
Right, rescue stretcher coming down. It's the Tapu Lele. Remember, abilities are back on, so it's good news for Jimmy.
See him go for the Tapu Lele for the Wonder Tag.
Could we see maybe even a Guzma here, depending on how many items there are in Ryan's discard?
See a Sycamore.
Getting another Trash Lanch would also be very beneficial for Jimmy right now. Because since it is such a strong attacker this late in the game, being multiple of them in play and also trying to find another tool card is what you need to do.
Ooh, we see the Parallel City again.
But this is interesting because he Parallel Cities himself.
Yes.
Getting rid of a couple liabilities on his bench, that Drampa that was heavily damaged from the Zoroark.
We see him attach another DCE to that Tapu Lele, making it a bulky attacker, and going in for a Sycamore to refresh his hand.
Yeah, so with Tapu Lele, its energy drive, it doesn't get affected by weakness or resistance. That means the inherent advantage Zoroark has against Garbodor is a moot point against Tapu Lele.
Yes. We see a Ultra Ball go into the discard. Jimmy's searching his deck just to see what there is. Draws nothing out of it.
No, he got a
Oh, did he? Trash Lance, okay.
So now he has both of those in play. And he got the Float Stone.
Wow.
Trash Lance takes the knockout. Jimmy's down to 2 prizes left. And he is 2 prizes away from making 34 match points and almost guaranteeing himself in top 8.
Impressive comeback from game 1 where he was just had nothing.
Exactly. And with the combination of Acerola and these parallel cities is really denied Ryan Grant all these prizes. He's done quite a few attacks, but he's still at 6 prizes.
Right.
Still put far behind. There is no abilities, so no access to trade. He's still trying to decide what to bring up.
Well, it looks like we're bringing up the Execute.
If only there was an Executor.
Ah, this is going to be an execution, it looks like.
Oh, jeez. Alright, there is another Zoroark hitting the bench. That's what it was.
Yes.
And then I think an N. Ending Jimmy down to 2 cards. The one good thing about not taking prizes at all is your late game N still draws you 6 cards.
Exactly.
But remember, no abilities. Lycanroc has been a moot factor this game. We even see it in his hand. But remember,
he could go for a dangerous Rogue GX.
Yeah, but it's not really that good. And wow,
right.
We see a double colorless and a pass. Here's a Dazzle
oh
for
my
the Guzma,
gosh.
And that will be game. Jimmy Pendarvis takes it in 3 games, and now is at 34 match points. And
99% sure he